Welcome to Champion Minded, the podcast for those who aim for excellence, not only in the sports arena, but in life. My name is Allistair, author, speaker, mindset and performance coach, and my goal is to help you unleash your unlimited potential and provide you with the tools to achieve greatness. Are you ready to become champion minded? Then let's do this. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to a Champion Minded podcast. I'm Allistair McCaw, and as always, good to have you with me. If it's the first time on the podcast, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. It's been a great pleasure for me. This week, I'm in Minneapolis, and to be quite honest with you, I don't even know if I say that correctly sometimes. It's quite a long word, but it's in Minnesota. I'm here to speak at the University of Minnesota to the swimming and diving team, which I'm looking forward to. That's going to be this afternoon. So just flew in, early flight. But good to be here. Last time I was here was probably a year and a half ago, and I've always had a good time here in Minnesota. So anyway, it's been a busy few weeks. It's been a productive few weeks. Lots of traveling, lots of speaking engagements, met a lot of people. And was also able to work on some of my own personal goals. Got a lot of running in. Was out of Florida for a while, and any of you who know, this time in Florida, July, August is super, super hot. So in a way, it's nice to get out and just get a little bit of cooler weather. But anyway, this week, it's a big one. It's comparison is a no-win game. And, if you have the book Champion Minded, it's actually on page 130. It's a chapter in Champion Minded. And, it's just something I wanted to cover because a lot of the athletes and clients that I consult are caught in a comparison game, comparing their lives to others, comparing their results, comparing their progress, comparing their status, comparing their position to others the whole time. And I can tell you that it's a no-win game. And then what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to read the chapter for you. It's just a short page on what I spoke about in Champion Minded. So one of the main reasons we are discontent with our lives is because we are always comparing ourselves with others. We measure how well we are doing in comparison with others. We make mistakes or don't make quick enough progress, and therefore we feel inferior. We experience success and progress, and we begin to feel superior. Our confidence and our self-beliefs moves with the market and flows with the opinions of others. In life, comparing yourself to others will always be a losing game. Like it or not, there will always be someone smarter, faster, stronger, more wealthy, more attractive, or more talented than you are. But here's what they don't have. They have the amazing abundance of uniqueness and talents you have. Exclusive to you. There is no one quite like you. If you're so busy comparing your life or yourself to what others have or do, it leaves you with less time and energy to bring the best out in yourself. The best person you can compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Just try and improve on that. When it comes to sports, comparing yourself with others can be an unproductive time and waste of energy. It's especially prevalent regarding progress and results. The fact that each athlete has a unique genetic code, culture, upbringing, and support system renders comparison unsubstantial. Each athlete is on their own unique journey, making it unrealistic and unreasonable to compare one person's progress with that of another. Each athlete progresses and develops at a different rate. So guys, that was taken from the book Champion Minded, which, it's an area that I feel so critical, especially with today, especially with the social media we have. We compare our lives to others' highlights reels. We wake up first thing in the morning, we start looking at Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or whatever social media platforms you follow, and we start comparing ourselves first thing in the morning, which is probably the worst way to start, of comparing how boring and how miserable we think our lives are, because we're looking at the highlights of everybody else that, where they've been on vacation, or they've had a great result, or they're having a good time at a friend's outing or event or a wedding or whatever it may be. And we're thinking to ourselves, what am I doing sitting at home? We can be so easily misled. Understand that comparison impacts the way we think, the way we act, and it's an unhealthy comparison, because again, we have our own journey to follow. Everybody's journey is different in life, especially in sports, is that you can't compare yourself's progress to somebody else because they might have been in the sport longer than you. They might have had more coaching than you. They might have, especially in junior sports, the physical aspect. There's a big difference between a 14-year-old that's 5'9" and a 14-year-old that's 5'1". It's all the time of development as well. So you can't compare yourself there. As I said in the beginning of the podcast, comparison is a no-win game. It steals your energy. It steals your joy. As I say, actually, it's the thief of joy when you start to compare yourself to others. I think, in my opinion, the only time comparison is healthy is when you're comparing yourself to the person you were yesterday. That is the champion-minded mindset right there. Are you better than you were yesterday? And the champion-minded, some of you that maybe follow me on Instagram or on Twitter or on Facebook might have seen that quote. The champion-minded wake up each morning and ask themselves, how can I get better today? They don't ask themselves, how can I be better than the neighbor? How can I be better than that other person in the team? They ask themselves, how can I be better today? They compare themselves to the person they were the day before. And it's something I've experienced in my personal life, not in sports, but more in my personal life, of trying to be simply a better person. You might have heard in some podcasts before where I spoke about, I believe we metamorphosize every 5 years. We change every 5 years. Your learning process. If you're a lifelong learner like I am, where I continually strive to learn more, if I look back to who I was 5 years ago, and I'm sure you'll agree with me if you do the same, you will agree that you've changed. The people you've met, the things you've watched, the social media you've followed, the values you have, the beliefs you have, the things you watch, changes you. Experiences change you. Tragic or triumph, victory and defeat. These things change you as a person. So it's always a moving dynamic. It's so hard to compare yourself to others. And that's one thing I want to bring across today is don't let comparison steal your joy of the journey of life. Stop comparing yourselves to others. Stop going on that, sometimes even that pity party of why aren't you where they are? These are things as well we can get so easily caught up in, of having almost a pity party. I've been in this job longer than they have and they got the promotion, or I've been going to practice more than this other person has and they get selected before me. Again, those are comparison things. You've just got to keep working on yourself. I think for me, where, comparison is something I struggled with. I compared myself to others. And where it changed for me was gratitude. I let gratitude replace comparison. Where instead of comparing yourselves, because here's what comparison is. Comparison is almost saying you're ungrateful for who you are. And you're trying to be somebody else, or you're trying to be better than somebody else. And I think that's ego getting in the way. And I speak from personal experience. And where you're comparing yourself to somebody else out of pride or out of where you should be, instead of being grateful for where you are. I say focus on appreciation instead of expectation, meaning appreciate where you are, how far you've come, the things you've done, and stop expecting things to happen. If you put in the work, good things are going to happen, period. No matter what line or what field you're in. The formula for success is having a vision, having purpose, putting hard work in. If it's something you love and you work hard at it and you learn and you work your butt off, you will be successful. But sometimes impatience can take over. Sometimes comparison can take over. It's so good to self-reflect where you are right now and know what you need, but stop and focus on gratitude and appreciation of how far you've come. Stop comparing yourselves to other people's Facebook posts, other people's Twitter, other people's Instagram. It's something that, jokes aside, that really leads to depression, because you're thinking, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with myself? But if you're putting in those little efforts every day, you're building good habits, good routines, you're going to get there. It's patience and persistence, which is the key to success. The champion-minded understand that. It's about having a mindset of gratitude. If I had to put it in 3 words, a mindset of gratitude. So, something to really, really consider. I think comparison also robs you of your best potential. It steals your ability and it steals your energy to bring out the best in yourself, because you're focusing on other things that are not controllables. You can't control what other people are doing, but you can definitely control what you're doing. Instead of comparing yourselves to others that are maybe doing better than you in a certain field, change that mindset to learning from them instead of comparing yourself to them. I do it myself. The great speakers, the great motivational speakers, the great people in my field and my line, before I'd compare myself and think to myself, why am I not getting as many gigs or as many speaking engagements as they are? Instead of just focusing on my craft, learning, working hard at it, getting better, building relationships, which is the big one. That's the big one. And then these good things will come. It takes time. I run into so many coaches, leaders, managers, bosses in their 20s or early 30s, and they're just desperately impatient. And I tell them it takes time. It takes putting in the consistency. It takes years and years of being consistent at a high level, of having high standards. If any of you that read my first book, 7 Keys to Being a Great Coach, it's about high standards, consistent high standards for yourself, for your organization, and for those you lead. Last thing on comparison, you're unique. You have your own journey. No one's quite like you. The world doesn't need sheep. The world needs your uniqueness. You have something special to give. We all have a story to write. Each and every single day, you are writing a chapter in your book. You have so much to give. You were made for greatness. There's so many people out there that need someone like you. To inspire and to lead others, you don't have to be famous. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have achieved great things. You just have to care. I think the teachers, the coaches, the people in my life that have been the most, let me put it this way, the people that have been the most influential in my life have not been famous or rich. They're in fact people you'll probably never hear of. They've been people that have been in the background, but they've always been there. And I'm sure you can identify those people in your life. So that's it for this one. Again, comparison is a no-win game. I want you to maybe have a good think about this one and again, learn from others. Don't compare yourself to their highlight reel on social media. That can steal your joy. It's a thief. And comparison is a no-win game. So that's it for this week. I always appreciate you spending the time with me and listening to the Champion Minded podcast. And practice gratitude, my friends. So guys, remember that this podcast is available on iTunes and on YouTube, The Champion Minded. Also, follow me on social media, Twitter, @Allistair McCall, Facebook, McCall Method, and on Instagram, Be Champion Minded. So remember, you were made for greatness. Now go do the work. Until next time, stay champion minded, my friends.